Now, when gender becomes indeterminate, you can have 7 billion genders. Or you can decide, or you can believe that gender is assigned at birth. Now, if gender is assigned at birth, it follows automatically that gender cannot change.
Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. After some YouTubers today, I'm going to be checking out doctor who refuses to acknowledge gender choice challenged by trans women. Okay. Alright, this is going to be interesting. So without further ado, let's get started.
Explain to us why you have these views, David, because you have a very deep religious belief.
Well, I do. I don't think there's any big deal here. Most of humanity throughout most of history have believed this, believed it on the basis of scientific evidence, believed it on the basis of how do we assign gender to people. When I use the word gender, I use it in the same as sex, assigned at birth. And yes, you mentioned my religious views. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe that God made mankind male and female. And I believe that this is extremely important to us as a nation, as a generation, that we uphold this truth.
But Doctor, can I just say, this truth, whatever you deem to be the truth or whatever, in today's world, this ain't going to change, right? It's not going to change. You've lost a job over all of this. Why don't you, let's start with the easiest option first. Why don't you just go, yeah, whatever, you mightn't believe it or not, but why don't you just tick a box and save your job?
Well, first of all, it would be dishonest for me to do that. I would be, and lying is sinful. It would be sinful before God. And secondly, it's the same thing, isn't it? I do not believe it. And if we have no doctors...
Do you medically not believe it?
I medically not believe it. If we have no doctors or nurses with consciences anymore, anything can happen. We have to be allowed to have a conscience when we work as doctors and nurses, even if we disagree with each other on some things.
What about somebody who has had the full transgender surgery and believes that they have changed their sex, maybe from male to female, female to male, and they are living as that person?
They have the right to
Would
tell me.
you still not call them by the gender that they prefer?
They have the right to call themselves by whichever gender they wish, but as a Christian, I believe that gender is assigned at birth and that God made them male and female and that this cannot be changed.
Monroe, assigned at birth, you were assigned a gender at birth, but you believed that was the wrong gender,
yes.
Right? So Monroe, doctor, is the person she is today, but on, I presume, your birth certificate, it says you are a different gender.
Yes.
Yes. Now, doctor, do you have a problem with that? Monroe is comfortable in her own skin, who she is, what she is. Would you actually say to her, I don't recognise that?
Can I actually just say surgery doesn't actually have a bearing on how far someone is with their transition. You can be trans and have not even transitioned yet, and that's actually the most crucial point.
So the minute
when people
you
are their
decide,
most vulnerable and they need to be believed.
See, more this is where it becomes very complicated, very confusing, and actually I think perhaps makes it easier for the doctor, because he's actually saying if physically you are...
But that is his job to help people, and he's not doing his job by not helping people.
There's never been anybody that I've refused to help, ever, not once.
Well, we're talking potentially, aren't we?
So we have a situation here. Take Facebook, where we have 78 genders now, I'm told. Now, when gender becomes indeterminate, you can have 7 billion genders. Or you can decide, or you can believe that gender is assigned at birth. Now, if gender is assigned at birth, it follows automatically that gender cannot change. It cannot change. It's impossible.
Gender identity. You're confusing that with sex.
So you're talking medically and physically.
I'm talking medically and physically as well. It's recognised within medical practitioners that this is the process and this is how you help trans people. And this guy is saying, no, I'm not going to help people because I don't want to refer to them how they are because of my religious beliefs. If this is his religious beliefs, then he should not be in the field, and he was right to lose his job.
You can't write off Christianity or religion just like that.
I can. Any religion. I'm not writing off Christianity. I'm writing off religion if that's going to stop you from helping people. You're a public servant.
So
working for the NHS of taxpayers' money, you should be helping people, not using your own beliefs to play God, essentially.
If you remove everybody like me from the NHS, there'll be no NHS left.
I'm not talking. You can have your own. You can have your own beliefs, but don't impose that on other people.
Okay, but just
we have to have people with belief, and they have to be able to hold that belief.
Let me
say what that belief is in the NHS.
Let's talk about
I'm not saying that you can't be a
practicalities.
Christian. I'm talking about you imposing that and affecting people that are highly vulnerable and need your help.
okay, they may be highly vulnerable. They may be in lots of situations that they don't want to be in.
84% of young trans people are either self-harming or have attempted suicide.
What he's saying is, I suppose there has to be some order to things. And when you look back, I mean, how does genealogy continue? How do records be kept when someone...
We're talking about gender identity. We're not talking about biological sex.
Gender and sex are the same.
They're not the same, and that's widely accepted.
We're living in a gender-confused generation. Our children in our schools are being moved into a gender confusion situation. Our parents need to stand up on this. Our parents need to defend their children. We are in a situation where we are completely changing the society in which we live.
But
we're not dealing with confusion.
Is that not just happening, David, that you can't stop it? That's just the world changing.
No, it's being
people are becoming
driven.
more accepting of
And
how people
understanding.
feel.
Well, that's like something out of George Orwell's 94. This is the way it's always been, but it's not. Throughout history, find anywhere in Christian history other than today when any Christian believed this.
You can believe it
the Bible.
yourself. You can believe it yourself, but don't impose that on other
write
people.
off Christianity.
No, I'm not writing off
write off
Christianity. You can practice Christianity on your own time. You cannot be a public
about
servant and serve the
from your
public.
Where men and women do not have a conscience.
Yeah.
We
This is
have to
purely-
have a conscience to practice medicine.
No.
Okay.
You can have a conscience, but you also signed an practice of ethics.
This is
to
is this
serve
something
people and
based
not just the ones
purely,
you choose.
Monroe, please, is this based purely on a religious belief as opposed to a scientific
It's bigotry.
belief?
Thank you. By God, I cannot go along with that.
What
But
it is, it's bigotry.
thank you very much.
We'll
I'm
give
not
you,
gonna insult
give you the last word. Monroe.
Sorry, I've lost the track. Is it science? I believe that science is very... I believe that the science I studied at primary school on anatomy was very clear. The science I studied on
That was a long
genetics
time
was
ago,
very
though,
clear.
wasn't it?
Yes, but the anatomy hasn't changed and the genetics haven't changed.
Society has.
And basically, that's for this. I feel, just like she said, you can't impose your belief on others, and I feel that's what she's trying to do to him. Like, you can choose to identify as whoever or whatever you want to identify as, but you can't force me to do that. Okay, I know if I'm to see someone on the street who look like a lady, just like the way she is, I'm not going to say you're a boy, because I can't tell that you're a boy because you look like a lady. The only time I'm going to feel somewhere is if like, oh, I transition to a lady, or if I'm to be dating someone and I never knew you were a man or you were a lady before, then you turn to a man and like maybe like a year as a relationship, I tell the person that, oh, I'm a lady. I transition to a man. And they'll look at you in a different way, like, you're not supposed to look at me in a different way. But they can, because you never told them the truth. Or I know I'm drifting to a different point, but I'm saying that if you look like a lady, people are definitely going to identify you that way because you have the features of a woman. But if you are a man, I can see your abs, your strength, your beard, and you're dressing like a lady, and you're like, come be a lady. I'm not going to do that because it looks so weird. And it's just, yeah, that's like the way she is. She looks like a lady, so even if I want to even say she's a man, I can't because I'm seeing a lady right there. Even despite the fact that she transitioned, I'm seeing a lady right there. So I'm going to prefer her as a lady because she looks like a lady. You get that? But if you're looking like a man, but you just wear feminine clothes and like you have to identify me as a lady. This is my face, this is my transitioning face, this is how I want to be identified as. That's how you want to be identified as, but that's not what I'm saying. But I know the doctor's point is that I don't care if you have transitioned, I don't care if you're in your transition phase, I'm not going to identify you as whatever is not on your birth certificate. So it's his belief, it's his own choice, so he can choose not to identify you as that. You can't impose your understanding of someone, and so it's his right to identify you as that or not. But you yourself, you call yourself a lady, then go ahead and identify as a lady, but you can't force the doctor to identify you as a lady if he doesn't want to. That's just what I'm trying to say. So guys, let me know about my reaction. Please leave a like, subscribe, and share the video. See you in the next one. Bye.